My son, who is almost 25, majored in East Asian studies and in Chinese, and he had the opportunity to study in Beijing during his junior year. And I was not able to visit him then because I was sick. And then he decided after graduation that he wanted to go back to China, and he did that. He worked in Tianjin, which is east of Beijing, and I was determined to get there. I came back with 1,000 digital images, and then the task of figuring out how they fit into my work. At that point, I had been working pretty much digitally with an emphasis on trying to bring the hand into the digital process and also bring digital and natural media together. I ended up doing a lot of scanning in good luck charms that hang from the windows, scanning in fabric, tickets from places that we visited. So there was a lot of remnants from the trip, like artifacts that I wanted to have in the images. And so the layering is something I can actually do in the digital images with Photoshop, and so I can have one layer that's just a texture of a painting, and one layer that's just a color, and one layer that's maybe bamboo, and another layer that's a face of a guy sitting in the park, and then it becomes this composite image. But if it's printed out on just flat inkjet paper, it loses some of the richness that you get on the computer. So I'm trying to bring back in some of the richness of the tactile parts. It's spun bond polyester, and it's actually used. It's called interfacing. If you're a sewing person, it's used to make collars and the stiffer parts of things. But what I do is I prime it, so smear medium or spackle or something on here. I use all those credit cards that they send you in the mail, so I'll scrape like that to smear it on here. One of the images that I've been working with is of one of the guys who was the polar on a bamboo boat that we took a ride on. And when we all stopped to have tea, he was just resting, and I was struck by just his calmness and the calmness of the river behind him, and just the beautiful karsts, these mountains that came out of the river. So I was working on this image, trying to bring him out of the background, which I had sort of darkened. I actually scanned in these old handmade paper books, and then laid the image of him on top of that. And the Brooms actually were amazing. You know, you're in this city and there's huge boulevards and cars whizzing all over the places and hundreds of people on their bicycles. And then there's these street sweepers with brooms that were some wooden handle and twigs, just twigs, and they were sweeping with. So I was entranced by the brooms and the sweepers. So I was really into the way the lanterns were hung in gardens and restaurants. I mean, all the restaurants have these red lanterns. So I did a lot of lanterns. My current work, which is based on photographs that I took from a recent trip to China, is now at the Drive-By Gallery at CCTV. And again, it's always hard for me when I do a new body of work to know sort of what it's about for me. One of the things that I was most impressed with, and this is a gross generalization, in China was that people just seem to be in a groove, and they're out early in the morning doing Tai Chi, dancing. They bring out little boom boxes and they do these like folk dances, or they do swing dancing, and everybody's out. And this is a part of their regular life, and they seem really social. And I was struck by that kind of calmness and centeredness, and I was hoping to get some of that in some of the images as well.